Welcome to Get Out, a weekly virtual broadcast where we invite you to grab your friends and family, fill up the gas tank, oh, and don't forget the keys, and get out with us somewhere in the White Mountains. And we are out today. We're at the Show Low Museum, and I bet a lot of people haven't been there. And if you have not, you have to come and see it. The last time I was here, you weren't here then, Claire.
Well, that was 9 years ago, Barbara.
Yes, that long ago. Oh my goodness. But Clair Thomas is the lady that will take you around and show you all the wonderful pieces of history. And I love this place. It's expanded since I've been here.
Yes, ma'am.
And are we in the area where they used to have the Show Low courts and also the planning and zoning?
We are indeed. So I will give you a virtual tour, just like I tell our guests when they arrive. Welcome to Show Low Museum. And I bring them in, I let them know we have 6,000 square feet of exhibits, 17 separate themed rooms, and we usually get, oh, you're kidding me.
It doesn't look like it outside.
It does not. So I bring our guests in and I explain to them on the brochure that each room has a number. This is room 1, the Show Low room, a title, and a brief description of what's in each room. When our visitors are here, I indicate to them that we start at the doorway with our Native American culture because they were here long before any of us were, and those are artifacts that have been donated. A little bit of Arizona history as we come along, a little bit of current history with COVID mask and toilet paper.
You had to put that in there, didn't you?
Well, yes, we had to, right along with the Vietnam War and John F. Kennedy. I mean, my goodness.
And this has a bit of everything. It's not just Show Low, it includes the region as well. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. When folks bring in items to donate, first and foremost, it's Show Low, White Mountain Communities, Navajo County, and then the state of Arizona. That's the criteria that we try to keep our items to. So, you know, it's Arizona history.
And behind us is the Deuce of Clubs, and of course this is very important in our area, right?
It is indeed. In the 1870s, Corydon Cooley came to this region with a couple of his pals. They were looking for gold. And instead of gold, Corydon found employment with the agency in White River, and it was during the Geronimo campaign, and he became a scout. And so he had partnered up with Marion Clark. We don't have a picture of Marion, I wish we did, but they eventually had a 100,000-acre ranch in this region. It was called Cooley Ranch. And so Corydon was gone a great deal of the time, and that left Marion Clark to manage this large ranch. And as the legend goes, Marion decided he wanted to do that anymore. He needed a little more help. So as typical for that era, they decided to play a card game called 7-Up. And they played cards and played cards and played cards, according to lore. And Marion Clark says to Corydon Cooley, show the low card and you take the ranch. And it is noted that Corydon turned over the Deuce of Clubs, slapped it down and said, Show Low it is. And so it was referred to as Show Low from then on instead of Cooley Ranch.
And we're located right here on the Deuce of Clubs, right?
We are indeed. Our townspeople, once we became incorporated in 1953, they decided that our main street should be the Deuce of Clubs.
Absolutely. Let's go to one of these other great rooms. 17 there is.
There is.
Claire, we're in room number 2 now. So obviously the theme for this room is military.
Correct, it is. In this room we try to honor as many of the branches of the military service that we have items of donation for. And so we have the Air Force, the Marines. In the far corner we have honor the Navajo Code Talkers, the Army, Navy, and the ladies' Army Corps. So just briefly, Carrie Vance, this was Carrie's uniform here.
How amazing.
And he was a medic, and he was killed in Vietnam. And this is his father's uniform. And
oh, wow.
Carl Vance, Sr., he was also a medic in World War II. So.
How amazing.
And there's young Carl and Marby as a young married couple. So.
We're in room number 3 now.
We are. This is the replica of the A&A Sporting Goods store.
Really?
It is. As I mentioned, this side of the building was built in 1960 by the Sexton family. And I remember my sister working in here as a cashier, and when you would come in, it was just like a very large bowling alley. There were no separate rooms, and it was so cold. It was very, very cold. But when I came on board as director, it was important to me to let our visitors know why most of our visitors come to the White Mountains. It's outdoor activities, hiking, hunting, fishing, and so that's what we portray in here. And,
tennis?
Tennis, yes.
Now it's pickleball.
It is, yes, thank you. It is pickleball. So anyway, this is a very fun room to remember the past, and I like to share that Muhammad Ali trained here in 1976. He and his family were members of our community for 6 weeks. And
that's right, and didn't Dr. Garver, he and it were pretty good friends?
Yes, they were, because in Dr. Garver's day, he was a welterweight champion. I don't know if it was of the world, but he was in boxing, so they were good friends, and yeah, it was great to have him here. So we have quite a bit of their family history in here as well.
Well, we're in room number 4 now, Claire, and I have to say it has to do something with fire.
It does. This is the Rodeo Cheddar Memorial Fire Room, and as a lot of our residents remember, in 2002 we had a horrific fire, 2 horrific fires threatened Show Low, and by the grace of God, we're still here.
And it really was. There was a lot of prayer going on, and it came just almost into the town, and it turned.
It did.
Gene Kelly was our mayor then, and I remember there was a lot of praying going on.
Yes, indeed. So when I'm in this room, I'm forever grateful that we still have Show Low. Miss Sue Sisson, she's been with the museum for the entirety of 26 years that we've been in operation, and she put this room together. And so we can thank Sue for everything that's in here, everything that was collected and
wow,
on display.
One of the things I'm noticing is that, of course, there are a lot of streets in Show Low and surrounding areas, and it seems like a lot of the names of the streets I see that we have rooms named after some of these people.
That's correct, because they are our pioneer families. This is the Eb Lewis family room. These items were brought in early on, 26 years ago when we were setting up. Eb's family just wanted to honor him. He was a very colorful, civic-minded man. If it weren't for Eb and a lot of other folks in this region, we would not have had a high school, a college, or a hospital. None of that was around when I was going to school. I had to go to Snowflake to school. So this room is a little bit of everything about Eb Lewis. He was a wonderful artist. He was our rodeo clown.
He was. I can see the bike over there, the wheel. I don't think I could do that.
The washing machine was one of his entries in the 4th of July parade. They were always different. Oh, and he was inside. I seen him in the parade that year, but I couldn't quite figure out how he could see where he was going until I came to work here, and it was like, oh, see those little holes?
Really? And so it has wheels underneath? Oh my goodness, how amazing.
Yeah.
So he really was a clown.
He was. And the photo on top, you can see his head popping out of the washing machine.
Like a Jack-in-the-Box.
Yeah, and here's his black derby. He was always noted for wearing his black derby. So,
how amazing. And this is a fun room.
It is fun.
I think we're in room number 6, and I love this room already because it has a lot of vintage things in it. That's one of my things. But I also noticed that when we walked in, it said Wolford. And when I first came to Show in 1994, I would see Wolford's Garage.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a Wolford Street.
We do.
That people come down. It's the shortcut from the theater over to Show.
It is. And the family that established this room are all those people.
Wow. And behind you is a wedding gown even.
Yes.
Tell us the story of that.
This wedding gown was Miss Jackie Wolford Solomon's wedding dress. And
more of those names.
yes,
Solomon now.
Solomon. And she married Sam Solomon. Her mother, Nell, handmade this dress and used this sewing machine to do so.
Oh my goodness. And when we come to the museum to tour it, we don't touch things, right?
No, no.
Just thought I would say that because this has to be really old, right?
1953.
Oh, not that old.
No.
Not that old. Not for some of us anyway. And then of course there's a typewriter over here, and my eyes always goes to that because I love the old typewriters. You know, when we had to really type hard, you can just almost go back to school, remember this. But oh, so many beautiful things. Are all of those handmade?
Yes, they are.
Oh my goodness, this is just rich.
We have several generations of Wolford descendants in this room. We began with Dr. Joe and Clara Wolford. They came from back east. If you needed a tooth pulled, he would pull a tooth, and then he was a master carpenter, so he built homes, and when folks passed away, he built their coffins.
So we could say he was a jack of all trades.
He was indeed.
Oh, this is a fun room. Thank you. I think we're in number 7 now, and I believe this is the artifact room.
It is. We call it the Artifact Gallery, and as you can see, we have artifacts, and then we have beautiful paintings as well. In this room, we do our very best to depict all of our native tribes that surround Show in the White Mountains. The White Mountain Apaches, the Navajo, the Zuni, and
Hopi?
Hopi, thank
Yes,
you.
I knew it. I could look and see. I'm looking right at it. This is great.
So this is a
history.
very fun room when the children visit to explain those cultures. It's important that they know the other cultures that are in the White Mountains. So.
One thing I love about Arizona is cultural diversity. It's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
This is the Mcnairy Room, and it's number 8.
It is.
And what I remember is, you know, being new to the area back in 1994 and trying to look at everything, I went to Mcnairy, and you just go through it, and no way would you have any idea what a hopping place that was back when.
No, most people find it hard to believe from what they see today than what Mr. James G. Mcnairy and his people seen in 1920 when they came from Mcnairy, Louisiana, and came here to, you know, the world's largest stand of ponderosa pine, yellow pine. So they had the general store. If you were not born at home, you were born in Mcnairy at the hospital. They had a roller skating rink. They had a movie theater. It was a company town. It was a segregated town for the folks. They chose to have their own segregation. When they worked at the mill, at the lumber mill, and in schools, they were not segregated. So they became a beautiful blended family.
You know, I've already forgotten my numbers. Are we 8?
We are in room 9.
We're in 9, okay.
The Women's Pioneer Room.
I love this room. I never thought I would really be a pioneer woman, but I'm going to tell you, those dresses that we have in here and the quilts and so forth and the undergarments, they are things that are not real pioneer to me because they didn't get dressed up that much, did they?
No, they did not. Those beautiful dresses are an exception to the rule. Again, those were items the families brought in, and I try to depict in here as many of our cultures as we can. We have an Apache camp dress, a traditional Navajo velvet dress with coins on the collar, because the Navajos back in the day, they would display their coins to show their wealth.
Really? That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Well, everything in here is just amazing to me because I love the clothing. You know, it's a period that many of us have just read about. But it is so nice to be able to see some of these things. And how do you find all of these? Do people come to you or do you go to them? How does this work?
The Historical Society has never ever, and we will never ever solicit for items. I guess the word gets out, Barbara, that, oh, well, they've got this beautiful room about our great-grandmothers, and, well, we can take that in and share, and that's what they've done in all of the rooms.
How wonderful. I love it. Okay, let's see some more. Number 10, nothing can stop the mail, not rain, sleet, snow, or hell.
That's correct, Barbara.
This is great.
You know, in our little town of Show Low, we've had 17 different locations for our post offices since mail began to deliver here. Again, Corydon Cooley was our first postmaster. As depicted on the pictures on the wall, several of the post office locations were in family homes. So this is a very fun room. The grading and the post office boxes are from one of the original post offices here in Show Low. And again, that was donated, so.
How amazing. I love it. This is great. Thank you. Just when you think you've seen it all, you find yourself in a blacksmith shop. Who knew? Whose family?
This is the Matkin family. The Matkin family, some of them are still in the area. Some of our folks will remember Matkin Engineering. They did surveying here in the area early on in Show Low's surveying time. Although George Sr., he was a true blacksmith. And so a lot of the tools in this room, George made. And like I tell the children or anyone else when they come in, there was no Home Depot to go and buy a tool. You have to make it yourself. And so a fun thing for us to take to the schools is the variety of horseshoes and teach the children about what size horse or mule wears what shoe. They're all different, and they seem to really enjoy that. So
this is great, and I think it's good for everybody to know that there is not always just the Home Depot. All of these things got started somewhere, and there was a lot of ingenuity, a lot of hard life that people lived and have made it easier for us.
Haven't they, though?
Yes, they have. All right, let's go on to number 12. Well, we're at home in the kitchen.
We are.
And when I saw Borrego, I thought of my friend Valerie, and I thought of Ezra, and you know, the Borregos are still around.
They are, and they visit their family room often.
Really?
So Angie and Don Borrego were lifelong residents here. This kitchen, Angie donated this was one of the first rooms, even though it's a family room, Angie wanted these items donated and not on loan. And so everything in this room is donated. This is Angie's wood cook stove and her ice box. She had an outdoor kitchen.
And that really is an ice box.
It
you had to have
is.
ice to run it.
Yes.
You didn't plug it in.
No, there's no electricity. So it's a fun room. We've added a lot of items as people bring them in. And that's the fun part about having the themes of the rooms. We always honor our original folks that brought in their items to create the rooms, but it's a nice building block we can add to as things come in.
Absolutely. The families that made Show Low Show Low.
That's right.
And the region, not just Show Low, this encompasses so much more. I just love it. We are actually in 13, and we've come down halls, a number of halls, and I want to mention that as we're coming down the halls, those halls are not empty. They're things that you also need to see, not just the numbered rooms. But 13, hopefully you're lucky enough to avoid the jail, because this is like the police department, right?
That's correct. When the Show Low Police Department relocated in 1994, they left it just like it is, with the exception of the photos and the cabinets. This is their fingerprint intake here, right here.
Oh my goodness.
So I tell the kids when they're in here, if you were fighting down at the bar and you both got arrested and brought in, you got fingerprinted, then they handcuffed you to this bar and you had to sit there. There are 3 beds in the jail cell, so if those 3 beds were full, then the guy you were fighting with, you had to just sit here with him all night until they decide to let you go.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's hard to believe that it was just this small little place, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure they got brought here from Bill's Bar.
Yes, ma'am.
That's no longer here. Thank you for showing us this room. I think that we're in 14, or are we in 15?
We're in 14.
I'm lost, but I recognize the name, Whipple.
That's right. This is the Whipple family room.
Oh.
They're an extensive family in the White Mountain region, so it's not just Whipple family members you will find in this room. There are a lot of other pioneer names. And again, there are many descendants still here in the region. And we just feel so privileged to have some of their artifacts from the beginning of their adventure here to Show Low.
This is grassroots Show Low for sure.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
All right, let's find another room.
Okay.
Number 15, the old Show Low business room. And behind me, I know that there was a drive-in movie, without a doubt. And oh my goodness, I saw Pat's Place across the room, only it was Nicholas that ran it rather than Pat.
In the beginning, it was Nick's Market, run by Lamar and his brother Leland Nicholas. So yeah, that was the building, and then that was one of our only grocery stores for a very long time. Then later on, Pat and Trish Shaffrey bought the building, turned it into Pat's Place. Wonderful pizza, ice cream, wonderful place to gather for birthdays or any events.
Anything, yes.
Yes. And
Especially St. Patty's Day.
Yes, it was indeed. So, but this room, we have a lot of memories of old businesses in this room, and the strong people it took to run those businesses, because as a lot of people know here in the Show Low White Mountain region, you can start a business, but it's hard to sustain a business.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. And for those that are still here, it's amazing. And we hear shop local, we know that everybody has to support each other on the mountain.
Yes, we do. And so hats off to our folks.
Amen, this is wonderful, thank you. I think we're in 16 now, and I'm telling you, more history and even saddles. McNeil Stratton Room?
Yes.
I know those names too. Tell us about this room.
Well, it's a blended family room, because in their lives they blended and married and had their families. So we have artifacts from both of the families. A very, very rich history here in the White Mountain area. Mary Ann McNeil was, talk about a pioneer, she was. She and John were married in Utah, and then they traveled here. And she birthed 14 children, and it was during polygamy days. They were a polygamous family, and John had to leave for fear of persecution. Mary Ann stayed here in Show Low and raised those 14 children. She hand wrote our newspaper.
Really? That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if there was news to be had, Mary Ann was the gal about town, and she hand wrote all of that. Of course, there wasn't a typewriter for her to use, so.
What a woman, though, 14 children to raise by herself.
She did, so.
That's incredible. Yeah. We're in a hallway, an actual hallway, and I'm telling you, the wood is phenomenal, and it looks like that it's been branded.
It has. This is the Ranchers Hall of Fame. I did not want a Cowboy Hall of Fame because there is one of those elsewhere, but the Ranchers, they were hardy stock, and so we partnered with Austin Goodman. He needed his Eagle Scout badge, and so I had this vision in my night, dreams that I have, and I explained it to Austin and his group of people, and they went to work. They went out throughout the communities and gathered this old barnwood. Some of it's from his grandmother's barn in Snowflake.
Really?
It is, and then we researched the area brands. Of course, we couldn't put all of them on there, but we've got some of the folks on there. And Austin and his group, they branded the wood out in the parking lot of the museum, and he actually made all of the letters in the alphabet and each name. So A is just one branding iron. A, U, and T, they're all separate branding irons. So, and then they had the large brands. So it was really a huge undertaking to do that. So
That is great. And what does this young man do now? Is he still an Eagle Scout?
I'm not sure, Barbara.
Well, I imagine he has quite the future. To go through something like this, to put this kind of work into something, it's amazing. And I see names, Seymour, Frost. Again, here we are. We're seeing all these names that streets are named after, or people in authority that we know. Like Darrell Seymour, he was the mayor. Now he is over at Navajo County Board of Supervisors. So rich history here too.
Yes, it
I
is.
love your dream. And obviously, I'm in the railway room, I think.
Welcome to the Silver Creek Railroaders.
I love it. This is great. John
Thank you.
Rowlandson, right?
Yes,
Good to have you.
thank you. I'm glad to be here.
When I look around here, I'm amazed because there is, I mean, this is like authentic.
We've tried to do as much as we can, emulate the history of two of the major areas of Northeast Arizona. And it's a work in progress. We've been at it since 2008. We're still working on it.
I can't believe it, since 2008. And as I look around, I know that Steve Taylor, who is a local artist, did the mural in the room. And it
Yes.
just makes it even more authentic.
It has really tied it all together. We have Flagstaff on the west, we have the White Mountains on the south, we even have the deserts of the east. So it's all come together in one place, and Steve did a good job of doing that for us.
And of course, this is a little boy's Mecca, right?
How about Big Boys Mecca?
Really? Well, I always heard that the difference between men and boys is the price of their toys.
That's especially true now. I've been at it for almost 70 years. My
Really?
first engine was, I think, $25. We just purchased a new one. It came in at almost $500. So
Really?
it's changed quite a bit.
Oh my goodness, and so how do you do this? Because this is expensive.
We have a group of club members. Right now there's 13 of us. Their annual dues or donations are $50. We've had 4 good grants from the Arizona State Historical Society. They helped us do some of the major projects. And of course we have individuals come in and leave cash, and that helps to keep the things operating. And if we want something special, we might even have a special fundraiser. But so far we haven't had need to do that, so we're making it well.
Do you have a lot of questions when people are coming through?
It depends. Some just jaws drop, and especially the little ones, and all they want to do is see trains run. Some of the adults have questions, especially when we start explaining the different areas of the layout. We add little details from time to time. We go to clubs or meetings and conventions, like our scenery here. This is this cemetery set, and it's a lot of small detail, up to including the hand coming out of the coffin.
Oh my goodness.
So it's those kind of details that we keep adding to it.
I love it.
Thank you.
Is there anything special you want to tell anybody about something here that we might not look at, and you can direct us in the right way?
Well, mostly it's just what we're trying to show. This is the town of Mcnairy. This is our part of our layout that we call the last train to Maverick. Represents Mcnairy when it was a log mill town. We even have part of the log mill. Maverick is up in the corner. Trains would come down with logs, and they would
Here we go.
get cut up at the mill, and then they'd be hauled out. The mill was operated, the last operator was the Southwest Forest Industries, and they operated the logging runs. The Apache Railway then took the lumber, finished lumber, down to Holbrook, where it found its way to all parts of the country.
Claire, you have been the hostess with the mostest today, and of course, I know that you would like to invite everybody to come in. And this kind of history that we have here, you can't keep it going by itself. So I'd like to know how people can help and make a difference here. Is there a cost in coming to view everything?
No, there is not.
No cost?
No. And there's a reason for that. It has been presented to our museum board of directors several times to charge. And when we have families that have a lot of children, I can't do that. In my heart, I cannot charge each one of them to come in and learn their heritage. So we have membership and we do solicit folks to join the Show Low Historical Society through membership.
And how do they do that?
We have forms here at the museum, and then in the spring we send out a membership mailing and inviting people to join if they wish.
Fantastic. And so would you tell us your hours?
Yes, we're open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. or by appointment for a special tour. We can finally do that this year. We didn't last year. And just on a note, we host several family reunions in here, and it's a lot of fun. We just did have the Pierce family on Saturday. We do a scavenger hunt of their people, and so that way the younger ones are taught, that's my great grandma on the wall.
I love it. So if you love history, this is the place to be, and if you're new to Show Low, you definitely have to check it out. But if you are a resident and haven't been here, you need to come on out.
Yes, please come join us.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.